What was this? It was white sauce, green peppers, mushrooms, and onions,
and roast beef.
and roast beef. Yeah, and ground beef.
I mean, you could call it a Philly if you wanted to, or will ya?
I won't say no name. I promise. It's our coffee table book. Still a mystery. Who busted the nuts?
Well, look who's back. Cheers and welcome to From Behind the Barcast, the podcast for bartending, service industry, drinking in general. I'm Paxton Eugene. We got Clint, the Mayonnaise Marauder Moses. Sunset Kelly on the ones and twos.
A little boost there.
And if Hockey Joe's referring to him, he's either Sun-Kissed or Starburst Kelly.
Starburst Kelly.
Well, I love them both.
Yeah.
Jumping right into it. So I get to work yesterday, and it's the tale of two drunks, and it's sort of a thematic thing that a lot of us deal with all the time. You show up to a party sober that people have already been at. You show up to work sober where people have already been working and drinking all day. When do you not catch up or attempt to catch up? Because when I got to work yesterday, Erin was working the bar. She was just the right amount of drunk that all the customers were super happy. She was very attentive. She was singing Celine Dion at the top of her lungs. People were singing back along with her. Her closing song was Big Balls by AC/DC.
Okay. She had a set.
She had a nice set, which really got the crowd pretty frothy, right? And there's so that's one side, and this crowd was frothy, and there's a guy in there.
You got to imagine the Falcons game was at 9:30 yesterday, so some people got up and got after that, and so started drinking probably at 9:30 in the morning. So by the time you get there at 4.
Oh, buddy, we had some Wisconsiners there as well. But they were better than the person. I won't tell your name. We'll just call him Jake.
Jake, okay.
Jake was frothed up. He was foaming.
Jake from Froth Farm?
Yeah. And he speaks a language that we like to call Japanese whenever I'm sure you can't guess who it is. But he's sitting next to the Wisconsinites.
Sure. That's fine.
And they were like, is everybody in the South like this?
This is not a good example of who we are.
I was like, I hope you just didn't
This is the shittiest ambassador we've ever had.
I hope you didn't just get here today. And this is your
first interaction is this guy?
Good God.
Ooh. I mean, that's not who you want to be the first person you meet in the area.
So with all that in mind, I step into work and I go, do I start immediately? And I made the decision to not.
Start drinking immediately.
To not start drinking immediately.
So my thing is, if you're working, you don't necessarily need to start drinking immediately. But if you're hanging out, you need to start drinking immediately.
Yeah.
Because I would work, when I still lived out here, I worked at night. I'd get off work at like 10:30, 11, and I would just go straight to the bar before I had dogs. I'd go straight to the bar.
Well, that's still prime time to be out.
But I'm showing up at like 11:45. I've had a drink at work.
Yeah.
I am sober pretty much. I get there and then people are on 1,000. And you kind of
go to 1,000.
And you're like, okay, so can I catch up? Do I catch up? Do you just kind of coast and enjoy it?
Is it possible to catch up?
I've caught up a couple times, but it's not.
It's traditionally a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, because you end up doing when you try and catch up, you lap them.
You overcompensate. Yeah, I'm hard to lap though. I'm moving at a good pace. I got some good weight on me, and my liver's had some experience. But I definitely after Smoot's little goodbye party, I caught up. But I had to because I was around. The thing is, if you're the sober driver for 4 hours, when you get to where you can drink, you should be catching up because you deserve it. You dealt with it. But when you're working, it really depends on the day. If everybody's drunk that I'm working with, or everybody's had a few, I'm gonna have one just to kind of.
Well, see, I was coming onto a fresh crew, so
it's a patience cocktail at that point, just so I'm not irritable.
Yeah, because when you're working, you can be like, oh shit, I got to go to the kitchen and pick up food. You're not faced with the grim reality of day drunks.
Yeah,
right there. So, you can sort of, mitigate all of those angry feelings by just not being present.
Did Jake do anything outlandish beyond normal?
Here's the thing. I think he might have just flown back from London where the Falcons game was and had a few cocktails on the plane because...
Do you think that guy's got a passport? Do you think he's got a passport?
And because about 20 minutes after I got there, I was like, this is because immediately he walks up to me and goes, hey, I want to be on the podcast. And I wanted to be like, what's the last episode you listened to? But I knew he wouldn't understand anything that I said.
Yeah, I saw some Snapchats of possibly this guy at a party at about, let's say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and was like,
He was he was a Londoner by the time
I'm on
I got
vacation
to
this
him.
week, and I almost considered coming out here last night, and I was like, nah.
But 25 minutes later, I was like, man, this is gonna be all night. It wasn't. Gerald came up and goes, hey man, Jake Anise is out sleeping in his car. And a collective sigh of relief.
Even the Wisconsiners were like,
Well, no, the Wisconsiners, they took a short snap of him and sent it to their mother, and they're like, what if we bring this guy home?
oh, they were young?
They were like, yeah, like mid-20s or something.
Ooh, man.
But everyone, so one of the ladies, they were both the Wisconsiners. One of the ladies was a CEO. She works at a prison,
Oh, okay.
but she was like
So
the most normal looking.
I've seen a lot of this guy.
She goes, I'm a pretty good judge of like, psychopaths or whatever. And she goes, this guy got by me. The first 10 minutes, we thought he was just, it was a novelty.
God, what if she had been exposed to some of the other novelty acts in the area that got a full dose of him and Joel and
Yeah.
oh man, that would have been
But there was if the holy triumvirate of
jackassery.
So let's talk about what we're drinking and what I've drank and what we've drank.
Okay, so we're drinking Firemaker Brewery.
Atlanta, Georgia. Our buddy Michael O'Connor, who is
Shout out
a
to Mike, yeah.
listener, patron,
on,
friend. So we got a couple shoits.
He's got one on. We'll get the other ones later.
Last night, Kelly and I philosophized and waxed poetic for a little bit, and then I ran out of booze. So I went ahead and grabbed this hazed and blazed last night, and from what I remember, that's what it tastes like. It tastes like
Super
like
hoppy.
You know how some hops have like the weed twinge to it?
Yeah.
That's what it tastes like to me. And it was, you could tell like you drink about 3 of those before your tongue starts getting coated.
Okay,
Because
it's
it's
like a 420.
Yeah, it's like really smooth. The hops don't punch you in the face because they're weedy sort of thing, And then
So I had the Hale Southern, the Gata beer, light beer. It's a light beer. It tastes like it's got like a Miller Lite and a Keystone had a baby kind of taste to it.
So it's the purest form of maintenance beer, I think.
Yeah.
That you drink 50 of.
It's Football Saturday beer. I mean, it's
Exactly.
4.2%.
The thing is, I
ABV.
doubt it's as cheap as like Miller or Coors or something.
Probably
Probably not. But that's the purpose that it serves.
But if you can get them into this to stadium selling them because it says Hale Southern on there, that's
And what the F is GATA? I see people wearing those shirts. It has something to do with Georgia Southern. I would
yeah, it's
imagine.
like get after that ass or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, because typically the people with those shirts on don't like them too much. They're just generally. Generally, I see one of those shirts.
Get after their asses.
Okay, generally I see a Gata shirt and it
Now,
it elicits
I
a
want to see
feeling
what it
from
says
me.
on their website. Oh, on georgiasouthern.edu it says Gata get after their asses
Well, that's tight. I respect it.
from Coach Irk they had for a while.
So then,
or get after those academics.
yeah, academics. That's what it is.
That's what it
That's
is.
what it meant.
So just before and during the podcast, I started drinking the Fourth Down Amber Lager, and for me, it's I'm sensing a theme here. But the theme, it takes a hard right
turn. Mir had the. We've got a guest coming on, Mir Ali of Lily's Restaurant, be on the second half. But he had the PGA golf beer, and it tasted like a golf beer. Right? I mean, it was like a better
Tasted
version
like
of this.
fresh cut grass clippings.
Yeah, it feels like you're going to have 6 of those also.
Right. So also,
maybe more for sure.
it's called the Calamity Jane, I believe, and also all the cans are super beautiful.
Yeah.
They're all very different from each other and pretty striking. But the Fourth Down Amber Lager, not to just compare it to other things, but like Yingling, Vienna Lager style, a little more biscuity though. I think.
And you're about to embark upon the extreme left turn is to.
The Firemaker spiced coconut water. It is sugar-free, carb-free, gluten-free.
Were these bought separately or all in the same six pack?
No,
it's a trial
variety
six-pack.
pack from our buddy.
Oh, okay.
He left one.
Gotcha.
And he brought one by the place I work, and it was like, "Yeah, try these." And I'm like, "I don't know how it even works here, but I'm not going to be able to try these because we can't drink at work."
He
at all.
dropped these off at work, and I had to immediately roll up there because if you leave things like this,
Yeah, they'll be gone pretty quick up there.
That's fizzy.
Is it good? What I'm drinking while Paxton's tasting is I'm just doing some Casadores Silver on the rocks
It's
with
really
a little bit of
great.
soda and lime.
I'm gonna save about
I'm
half
not a
of
big
it and pour
coconut water
tequila
guy.
in it. That's the least, because coconut water has like that funky.
Oh, I fucks with this.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's pretty good. I don't usually like coconut water.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have that stank like pure coconut water.
That's pretty good.
There was one time I was like, I'm real hungover, and I watched Parks and Rec, and the lady was drinking coconut
Yeah.
water when she was planking on the chair. I was like, I'm gonna go get me a fat cardboard coconut water. I took one sip of the goddamn thing. I was like,
I did at Lollapalooza. They were like, if you're hungover today, have coconut water. So I got one and was like, oh, good.
I tried really hard. I just can't get down with it.
You know what else is fucking disgusting? The Bojangles Twisted Tea.
Oh, yeah, you went down that train.
So I was going to the liquor store the other day, and there's a Choose right next to it, a convenience store. And I bought some vodka, and I went next door to find some mixers because I like to mix like a White Claw or whatever with vodka. So I was like, oh, I'll get the Bojangles Twisted Tea on a lark because I bought one of those and a White Claw because they're 2 for $3.79, whatever, no matter which ones you buy. I took one sip of that piece of shit, and it was like,
You sent me a picture of it while you were still in the car, and you don't live very far from there.
Yeah, no.
You're like, this sucks so bad, you must know this immediately.
for real.
Did you finish it? Did adding vodka to it help it?
So I drank like one big sip, and I was like, fuck this. I drank another big sip, and I was like, hopefully vodka will improve it. About 4 hours later, I had vodka and nothing else but that Bojangles, and I was like, well, it tastes like something now. It ain't about
Did it
taste
not have
anymore.
lemon in it or something?
There's no lemon.
That I knew it. You got to have lemon in a iced tea drink.
And for the taller can, I think 16 ounce. How many calories do you think were in that sumbitch?
250.
270.
That's about right.
No, but a fucking soda is like 110.
Yeah. Speaking of soda, I wanted fried chicken really bad, and there's kind of a law in Savannah where if you sell fried chicken, you must close at 8 o'clock unless you're a commercial restaurant. I don't know why, but everywhere does. Like the good spots do. Sisters closes at 8. The place I want to tell you about in a minute closes at 8. Geneva's closes at 7. And Geneva's is a pain to deal with anyway. Savannah Fried Chicken number 2, a.k.a. the chicken store. Shout out to Shay. They close at 8 also. But Halal Kennedy Fried Chicken delivers through Grubhub. And I got it a few weeks ago. It was new. And I was like, I'll try this fried chicken. It's on Pennsylvania Avenue. If you're not from Savannah, that's in the hood. So like, all right, I got faith in the hood fried chicken.
That's what I'm saying. If you're going to get
Halal,
fried chicken.
So they didn't put pig blood on my chicken first.
Yeah.
And so I got a Philly cheesesteak, which is about, probably 5 inches.
I thought we were talking about chicken.
A 5-piece fried chicken. Okay. I ordered just those two things.
Okay.
With the delivery and the tip was $26. That's a great deal for
really
Grubhub.
great.
But they weren't to be outdone. They actually put a side of fries with both of those things. So I had 2 sides of fries, Philly, that. And then the lady delivered. I'm giving a shout out to her right now. This lady rolls up. She's like a 60-year-old black lady. She goes, hey, honey, I didn't know if you wanted sodas, but I got you 2 anyways for free. A Coca-Cola Classic and a pineapple Faygo or something.
You accidentally got the insider track
And so
on someone who might have known them.
As she rolls up, my father is leaving in his truck, and he goes, hey, come here a second, and hands her a $2 bill because he had one in his center console. So she got a $2 bill tip on top of that, and I was like,
I tried to tip
I was
Tilly.
having a shit day that day too,
Yeah,
and I was like, this is a 30% boost to my day, which is how bad my day was going. That was like a huge increase
I was going to say
happiness.
the stars align for you because typically when you're having the bad day, the pho shows up and there's no broth left. The bag has drank
That happened
the
on
broth.
Tuesday last week. Yet again, but this guy, he just kind of let it go. He didn't it wasn't like he dropped it. He gave it a little bit of speed and then dropped it. I watched it on the camera spill.
They got to know that everyone has a Ring camera now.
It says on the thing, be careful, capital letters, soup in order will spill. So he kind of just, the thing is, he made it all the way to my house. Why did you throw it down then? And he just kind of chucked it and walked off. And so I watched, I was at the backyard or whatever, the dog, so I saw him, I was like, oh, it looks like it's standing up. Oh, wait a minute. No, why did he do that? One other was like, no. Thank God there's just never a hole in these bags. Otherwise, it'd be full over my mat.
Sure.
I don't need to smell it any more than I already do. So
You got all the neighborhood cats and dogs trying to get up on your porch when they're taking walks.
So I ordered another one. The owner of the restaurant calls me because I've been going there for a decade. She's like, hey, what happened? And I was like, it spilled again. She's like, it happens to you like every 5th time. I'm like, that's about right. She goes, well, I don't know. We tell them when they pick it up. I'm like, do you have those little tape things they had during COVID to like seal down drinks?
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, yeah. I was like, maybe put some of those on there. It'll, 1, hold it shut, and 2, just hand them the cup. They're not going to drink the pho. They'll do it once, and they'll be burnt. I'll tell because it'll be all over their chests. Because boiling hot broth. You're not going to just take a sip of that, you know. So I have faith just with the tape thing. So she did that. The next guy that brought it opens up his little Grubhub bag. He's got all kinds of piece of cardboard. He has made some kind of contraption to hold up soup. He goes, yeah, I deliver to your house all the time. Yeah, I don't know how people spill this stuff. I have this thing to hold them together. I'm like, you're a delivery driver. Not a bad idea to have some props.
Yeah,
some
you
equipment.
think ahead a little bit. Oh my God, how crazy is that?
But man, it was good.
Oh yeah,
It was good.
Fried chicken?
Listen. Delicious. Oh yeah, sorry, but Barry, that was delicious.
Yeah.
I'd gotten it one other time before, but like for the deal,
Okay,
fantastic.
So you're looking at the menu and you're like, all right, I got to try the fried chicken.
The first time I got fried chicken, Philly cheesesteak.
Where'd the Philly factor in?
I'm in the search for like the best Philly,
Okay.
and it's really just gonna be Baldino's, I think, though.
Well, because there's certain places that you go, like you go to a barbecue restaurant and you're like, all right, if the brisket isn't good, I don't think anything else is going to be good.
Maybe there was some weed involved the first time I ordered from there. And I was like, oh, Philly sounds great.
Yeah.
And like, it was good. It was $7.
Right. Well, and just like
And they include the fries, and the fries are great.
I have respect for some places closing kind of early, only because like think about a barbecue restaurant, a good one. Once what they've cooked that day, once they sell it, it's done.
Yeah.
You know. So if they're making fried chicken,
It's that crispy fried
all
chicken
day.
too. With
That's
the-
what I'm saying. Yeah,
it's good.
They don't want to sit there
I
for an
prefer
hour.
Geneva's, but Geneva's is hard to get to. And like, you call in an order, they need your whole credit card number, your mom's address, what number shoe size, and
Signed in triplicate, buried
yeah,
underground
and
for 3
like,
days.
So I get it, but it was good.
Good,
And
good.
that was a nice little boost. And I used that pineapple Fago or whatever it was to like make drinks with on Saturday.
Yeah, the pineapple Fago or any of those.
That's 4 mixers, buddy.
I'm
you add
telling
some
you,
water to
you
that.
still got to cut it with some.
I cut it with water. 'Cause I just opened it, took a sip, and was like, I don't drink soda really. And
Yeah.
I drank the Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
On Friday night, I was like, I need to do some my physical therapy,
Yeah.
my back being jacked up. I need a little bit of energy, but not too much. So I drank the Coke in like, I don't know, like a 5-minute span. I was like, it reminds me of my grandmother's house in Vidalia. Like, it just the taste, the first sip, I'm like,
Because any soul food restaurant, the all the drinks on offer, especially the sweet tea and emphasis on sweet.
yeah.
I mean, you can make 5 sweet teas out of it most times.
Where I work, it's a lot of sandwich. They put 3 pitchers of sugar water in a thing of tea.
Yeah, man.
Like 2 is plenty. But hey, you want it sweet? It's sweet.
Talk about a mood booster. We had a drag show at work on Saturday.
Nice.
So when I'm at
Did
the
you shake your balls up just in solidarity?
not this time. So where I'm at the outside bar, their staging area was Ty Bean, which is right next to Huckapoo.
So you got to see some stuff.
This is what was the best part. I get to see them back there prepping themselves, not like primping, not like putting the makeup, because they all showed up fully.
That's a long makeup time.
But them like, okay, you can do this. You can do this, girl. And like their
pre-stage jitters.
yeah, their anxiousness, and then them come alive, like when they hit the stage. And I say hit the stage barely because anytime I would look to see who was singing, they weren't on that stage.
Oh, they're running around the
They
room.
was in that crowd, picking people up, holding people over their head. And then my buddy Gino,
Who's very portable.
very portable, he throws on some clothes.
He loves drag show. He's been drag a couple times.
Yeah, well, he did it. He did it Saturday. He does, man, I feel like a woman. I was like, that's kind of appropriate, right? I go, you don't have a cane. Because if I remember, I think in that music video, she's got a top hat and a cane.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh.
So I go, I've got it for you, buddy. So I go and I grab my broom and I untwist the broom handle. And I give him the broom handle. Cut to 6 hours later, I'm closed down. I'm like, I need to sweep.
Took it with him?
I don't have a broom handle.
Gino.
Sounds like
Right?
you know.
Sunday, yesterday, the next day, I go, Gino, let me ask you something, buddy. Remember that broomstick I gave you last night? He goes, that thing that's in the back of my car, where'd I get it? I was like, from me. He goes, yeah, my girlfriend said I wouldn't let go of it. I was like, obviously you didn't. Could I have it back? I'd like to do my job.
Can I have my broom back?
I really had to go and grab the actual, just the mustache part of the broom and be like, look, this is all I have, okay? This is
the bristles, the mustache part of the broom.
I've told the
heard
story.
that. That's awesome.
I've told the story 4 times and I couldn't think of bristles. I've used mustache. I've used 5 other things, but not bristles. Thank you.
The mustache part of it.
Mustache part. That's
So it's one of those little short brooms like a Hitler mustache. You got to push brooms like a
it was like a
handlebar?
groundskeeper Willie mustache. All right,
Speaking
well,
of mustaches, I must ask you to take a break with me.
yeah, we're gonna take a break, and then on the second half, we're gonna have Mir Ali ask him the hot questions, get the hot takes. Thanks for sticking around. We love you. Hey guys, Paxton here. I hope you're enjoying the show. And if you are, there's a few simple things that you can do that will really help us out. Number one, whether you listen on Spotify, Apple, Google, or wherever, you can drop us a rating and a review if you haven't already. Positive or negative, we'd love to hear from you. And the more ratings and reviews that we receive, the more we'll be put in front of new audiences. Also, if you listen on Spotify, you can easily share episodes to your Instagram stories. If you watch us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You might not be. And finally, why not shoot us an email with any service industry or just general stories that you'd like us to share? We always love hearing from you, and we love using your stuff. The email is FromBehindTheBarcast@gmail.com. Can't wait to hear from you, and enjoy the second half of the show. And welcome back to From Behind the Barcast with our guest, Mir Ali. Cheers,
Cheers,
boys.
guys. Yeah, that worked.
Close enough.
Yeah.
So this is El Cazadores tequila over ice with the rest of that spiked lush strawberry coconut seltzy from Firemaker.
And that fucks.
It fucks. It certainly does.
I'm just going soda with lime and a little bit of salt on the rim. I like the salt on the rim. It's really
You forget how
like a makeup margarita.
Yeah.
It's a super skinny margarita.
you forget how much of an accoutrement it really is.
I love salt.
Oh man,
It's so good.
salty boy.
So, speaking of salt and cooking, Mir is our guest. He owns Lily's Restaurant on Wilmington Island
Lilies.
Lilies with an I.
with an eye, named after your daughter.
Yep, named after my older daughter.
How long you been open over there now?
It'll be 9 years in November.
No shit. Wow.
Good
Time
God.
flies.
Time is flying by, man.
Oh yeah, man. Clint helped us open
Yeah,
up too.
I helped open the restaurant. Our two former
2014.
producers, Fro and Vinny, both all worked there.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It was a hard. There were some hard times at the beginning there.
Oh
you know?
yeah, I mean, when you first open a restaurant, you don't think about everything, and people like me that don't have a lot of money, and you do it with what you have, and you have liquor license and this and that, and all has to fall in place. And I think for the first couple of weeks, was it? I can't even remember that much far back, and we
I think we just had beer and wine for a few weeks, right?
Yeah, we just had the beer and wine, and
And then we had liquor sitting there too, which is
Yep.
even worse.
Mhm.
So it was like,
Yep.
sorry,
because everything wasn't approved. So.
Yeah.
And there's like the hidden costs of like to-go boxes or rando things like that you might not factor in right away.
or frozen waffles.
yeah. More on
Things
that
like
soon.
Well, that's-
So, what made you want to open up your own restaurant? So you were a chef. Where in Savannah did you work before that?
So I was at George's of Tybee when I first moved here in '98, and after that I moved away to France and did that for a little bit. Came back and I was the head chef at North Beach for many years. Pandemic hit, I mean not pandemic. I'm sorry, the recession, and North Beach closed down. George's closed down, and then I worked at Il Pasticcio downtown.
How long were you there for?
I think I was there for about a couple of years, and the recession hit.
Recession plus bad investing hit there.
Yeah, and with people not to mention.
Oh, we
did not
can burn him
use
to the ground if we want
their
to.
money wisely.
I don't think Pino's listening to this podcast, but I've talked about him quite a few times.
I didn't know what the protocol
Oh no,
is
we
for
can say
that.
his name.
So.
Fuck that guy a bunch.
Okay.
I've told a few stories on here about him, but he. Well, it wasn't really a great investment idea to know that a Ruth's Chris was opening up and then put all
Well,
your money into a steakhouse upstairs.
I mean, you spend millions of dollars opening up a steakhouse on top of a well-established Italian restaurant. One of the only Italian restaurants at that time,
Yeah, and the highest end one in Savannah.
which was doing really well. So greed, captures everybody at one point or another.
When you
And-
become competing with yourself when you have two of the most
Exactly.
high-end restaurants and people
then
can only
you
go out
had
and have
a
one meal.
nightclub on top,
Yeah.
where there was lots of fun going on up there.
There's a few things
yeah.
in this world that you can just purely throw money at and probably do okay, but restaurant, it's a
I mean, what do you
Yeah.
think that bathroom upstairs cost? That waterfall bathroom?
my
It was like one of
God,
those
where you
the
pee
men's
right
bathroom,
into the
you pee in the
waterfall?
waterfall.
pee into the waterfall?
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably a $50,000 bathroom. Like,
Oh, yeah,
no
and
one
it-
was like, "Oh, you know what? The food was good, but dude, that piss." I love taking a pee in that waterfall.
I've heard
bathroom.
more-
I think that was the best part of
I think that was
whole
their
place.
draw.
Yeah.
I think that the most I ever heard was, you got to see the bathroom. It wasn't like the steak, delicious.
It's
No.
like there's no stalls. Just go ahead and pee
Yeah,
right
just
into the
go-
on the wall.
The hard part was shitting in that waterfall. You really got to get the angle just right to shit into the
You
waterfall.
can't upper deck a waterfall,
No,
man.
no, it's like
I
one
wouldn't
deck.
be past it if somebody did
I'm
try to
sure
shit
that
in that
happened in there.
waterfall.
Because then, like, shortly after he got rid of it or he lost it, somebody
Yeah.
bought it and called it like 20 degrees or something. And their thing was they
Yeah.
had like a air conditioning ice blower on the dance floor. So every now and then it would blow like mega cold air onto the dance floor. And I tell you what, they opened up in like
That's a great idea.
Opened up in like May, and I would just get off work and go in there and just get the cold blast a few times and get out.
Oh well, the
But you had to pay to get in though.
No, hot top work there. I didn't pay to get under
the
shit.
warehouse downtown. The Stinky Beer Bar.
Yeah.
I played gigs there. They have an industrial blower right as you walk in.
Oh, yes.
So when you come off the
Keep
hot
the
ass
bugs out
street,
and keep the air in.
It's super smart, and I'm the sweatiest dude in the world, so it's really nice for me.
I've always wanted one of those like right above my bed, just like lateral with my body, so it blows on me. So what's your training, your background? You're a chef, obviously.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't go to school to be a chef. I was self-taught, and I've been doing it for so long. And the next stage in my life after North Beach was to see if I could do it on my own, or I would work for a corporate, place, like a hotel or something. And
so you had boiled it down to those two things. Either I'm going on my own or going ultra corporate.
Yeah, I needed to go to the next level,
and you just had a daughter.
And it wasn't because of the daughter. It was more so of where can I take my talents, where should I go with this? And it wasn't about making money. It was about
being creative,
pursuing my life dreams,
not being bound by anybody else's guidelines
exactly.
for a menu.
So, and when Lily Spot, came up, and I was passing by it because I live on Wilmington Island, going to North Beach, and I said, let's try to do this, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll know, because if I hit too many obstacles trying to make it happen, I'm that kind of person. Then it's not meant to be.
And you took over a place that was there was a restaurant there previously.
Yeah, there was
a deli, right?
Well, first when I went in there one time, it was Angel House Cafe.
That's what I remember the most.
And it was like a walk-up breakfast coffee place, right? And then after that, it was a restaurant called Michael's Cafe.
That's right. So they had a kitchen in there. You didn't have to put
they had a kitchen in there, but it was all electric.
Oof, and you're not.
So,
you need gas for that.
Yeah. So we had to do some modifications. Me and a couple other people worked on it. Pretty much built it to what it is now.
At least there's basic infrastructure there, like hood system and.
No, there wasn't, because.
If they're electric.
It was all electric, so we had to put a gas line in there. We had to get all the the hood system and all that, all the equipment, and they had this. Window that was a pass window,
so you could hit food outside.
So we had to build that. They only had one bathroom in there, and the guy used the bathroom as his office. Also, it was kind of weird. It was just like this.
That's a hell of a shit. No waterfall in there, huh?
It was a bathroom for the guest, and then he had this like makeshift desk in there with like milk crates and a 4x2.
Yeah.
That's the shittiest casting couch I've ever heard of.
It was weird.
But yes,
you got to take a pee, and there's an invoice laying in front of you.
What the hell? He's always paying for this?
It was just weird, and that's how it was when we found it. So we put another bathroom in there. We built the bar in there because there was no bar in there.
It's a poured concrete bar like the one at Huckapoo's is.
Yeah, like a concrete bar with. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Stained concrete bar.
Yeah, because I remember like one of our first big troubles there was the sound, because the floor was the same way, so it echoed. So we fit.
This goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You have to figure out all these little things that you don't figure out because I didn't hire a person to come and build it.
Do you think you need a sound engineer before you open your restaurant?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like when I first came in here and looked at these sound panels right there,
so Fro told me, he goes, man, in the restaurant, he was talking about
Fro
Lily's.
built a couple of those panels that we still have up there.
Well, that's what I was like. Listen, this is what you do. You got to have some foam.
Yeah.
But you don't want black foam hanging around your restaurant,
right.
so you just cover it with something that's an accompanying color to the wall already.
Yep.
Yeah. Just to take away some of the reflection.
Once you got it right, it worked out great.
Once we did that,
you want some lively chatter, but you don't want it to be.
And we had panels built all the way around with the foam, and then we covered in you're welcome. In a fabric. Yeah. So thank you.
But there was quite a few getting good. But I mean, you're doing great now, right? I mean,
now
you're
great.
Steady business.
It's
Wilmington Island's a very particular group of people.
I mean, all the islands are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of people in Wilmington, Whitmarsh, Tybee don't want to go into Savannah.
Right.
And they want good food, and there wasn't at the time. When y'all opened, that was the only nicer restaurant on Wilmington or Whitmarsh. Now there's the steakhouse on Whitmarsh.
Right.
And
the most unique menu for sure.
Oh yeah. So how would you describe your food?
I I don't like to use the word fusion, but that's what it is really. But it's like we said, it's named after my oldest daughter. She's half French, half Pakistani. So the food always revolved around those two cultures. And then it became, and you know, we're in the South, so we need our meat and potatoes, of course. So we always have that kind of stuff. So that's what I've been doing all my life, is taking, you know, French food or American food and kind of putting my own palate to it, which is, you know, the Asian style twist to it. So we, you know, worked on it. At first, we did, you know, real Indian, Pakistani food, which was a little bit too much for
some of those people. I mean, like I've bragged about a million of your meals,
and
and
then
like
we
it
did,
was so
you know,
good.
really classic French food like beef cheeks, and it was it was laborious, but it was really good. But people were still, you know, trying to get accustomed to that.
Yeah,
Sure.
a lot of those people they have an idea of what they want. And if it's a little too, even if you explain to them what they're going to get, and it's not what they wanted, they're like, hey, what the hell is this?
Well, and
Exactly.
if someone doesn't know that beef beef makes the best like beef stew tasting beef
Beef
stew,
cheeks do. I mean, the flavor is
Oh,
great.
yeah.
you know,
But it's
Tacos.
fatty though.
you can't tell them that though. You just have to. But
Right.
so you have to sort of, when you're making your menu, especially here in the South, you have to drive it in a sort of way that will kind of
Exactly.
dip the toes in. But at first,
Like
you
duck fat fried tater tots.
Yeah.
That is still to this day kill. And like your brunch menu is amazing. You're one of the best brunch menus in Savannah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Our brunch is pretty steady.
especially for the size of the kitchen you're putting. I mean, you'll go to Collins Quarter. The kitchen is 4 times the size of yours, and you're putting out probably a third of their brunch with a smaller kitchen. But your menu is unique like that. There's something for everybody on there, and you do specials you have specials daily.
Oh, yeah,
Rotate
daily.
some good old
Yeah.
ones, and then ones that are new.
Yep.
And your sous chef now is Japanese trained, right?
Well, Jeff is one of them, and I've got another guy that does other stuff too. But Jeff came from making sushis, you know, from Kenpai and I think Wasabi's downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's been with us for almost 6 years now.
oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the longest you definitely have had a sous chef. Or almost
yeah,
equally.
yeah. I mean, there's few people that
Is
have been
Erin
there
still
about
there?
5-6 years. You know, Erin is not. She's like a fill-in now, but she's
She started with day one, so
yeah, she's at the Crab Shack.
gotcha.
mostly.
Hey, fast.
What's
fast food
your kitchen staff turnover like in terms of?
You know, it's not that bad. Even through COVID and afterwards, we've retained our staff, you know, and there's been a couple of months here and there, but most of the guys that are in there now have been in there for more than 2 years.
And that's super hard to do right now. I mean, people
Yeah.
back where I work now, I think I'm on my 100th kitchen employee in 10 months.
when you are a chef owner, you know, you understand, you know, the hardships that some of these guys go through, and it's, you know, it's a, you know, nickel and dime business.
You,
But
you hired a homeless guy. Well, he lived in Hardee's, but you hired him.
you know, I'm a sucker for helping people out
You are,
sometimes,
yeah.
but you know, and it bites me in the ass maybe once or twice.
He
but-
cared. He cared
but
a lot.
He cared, and you know, I always want to give people a second chance in life. You know,
You got him out of the Hardee's. He actually got an apartment while he worked at Lily's,
yeah, you know,
and he brought a dog to work one day.
do
you remember that?
He,
He just
slept in my shed for
Slept in the shed a couple times.
Oh yeah.
But
for a
one day
while.
he showed up and he had a dog. We were like, "Where's the dog from?" He's like,
Well,
"I
he was
found it."
living. He was living in the bushes, you know, when I
Yeah.
first met him, and he had a dog, but I didn't care. He wanted to work, you know, and that was it.
and he worked.
Well, I think as a chef owner, especially when it's time for you to do hiring of line cooks or sous chefs or whatever,
Yeah.
you probably make less mistakes during the hiring part of it, and that's why you'll retain them longer as employees. Because like at other places where the chef isn't the owner, they're just
Yeah.
like, oh, you can cook, get in here,
Exactly,
and they're
yeah.
not going to last that
Well,
long.
some people just want bodies, you know. I interviewed a guy this morning, and I was like, you know, I don't want bodies. I want somebody who wants to learn, you know. And I always give people 3 days of paid, kind of see what you want to do, you know. Do you
You let
want
them
to
kind
be
of
here?
stage a little bit.
Do you want to be with these people? Do you like this food? You know, it's not just about the money.
Do
'cause
you feel
can
creative
go anywhere
doing
right now
this?
making $20-something,
Yeah.
you know.
Does
And
this fulfill you?
Exactly. You know, do you want to learn something that you want to take home and maybe make, because food is a necessity in life, right? So, you know, if you want to learn something from here and take it with you, yes, I need people to work, but I'm not desperate just to put bodies there.
Food is also a social necessity, I think,
Oh, yeah,
because
definitely.
gathering around and helping other people understand different cultural foods,
Oh yeah.
it's a huge benefit to just the society in general.
I mean, in since I've been here in Savannah, the food scene in Savannah has grown tremendously. You know, when George's opened up, it was ahead of its time.
Yeah, and that sometimes could be a hindrance.
that was its demise,
You were kind of
really.
ahead of your time for the islands for sure, because you had such like you said, a bunch of different things people hadn't tried.
Right.
And like I grew up in a white family in Savannah, and like I mean,
Me too.
I didn't have hot sauce. I know it's weird. You don't look anything like her. But like I didn't have Texas Pete in my fucking kitchen until I was an adult. Like I didn't have hot sauce experience. Like there were just certain things my family didn't do, so I didn't. You know, we lived on Wilmington Island and Tybee. We didn't go to adventurous dining. I didn't start eating pho until I got sushi
Right.
from a friend when I was 16. Like I didn't know about these things.
Right.
And I come to your restaurant and I get exposed to this world of curry while I was familiar with like Thai style curry. Now this Pakistani style curry, and this is my shit now. And it was such a nice. I learned a lot more from you than I did any other chef I worked with, because even being in front of the house, if I was interested in a dish, you took the time to explain to me and to the staff, here's what I wanted, and here's what I was thinking about when I made it.
Yeah.
And that gave us something to tell the customers, and that's what
Right.
you don't get at a lot of places. You don't
Well,
get that love.
Knowledge is power, you know. I mean, you got to have that knowledge where it comes from, because the type of food I ate, you didn't eat, just like you said, and the type of food you ate, we didn't grow up on meatloaf and mashed potatoes,
Right.
You know. But
What
I
is
had
a
to
collard
learn
green?
how to make a good meatloaf.
Sure, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because that's what people like.
And
you
it's
know,
empowering
it's
to the
it's
servers.
a staple food.
If you teach the servers what it's about, and then they can take that knowledge to the table,
exactly.
that
yeah.
makes them proud of what you're
Yeah.
doing and what they're doing, and it gives them, that's something that they've learned. It's in their vernacular now.
Oh yeah, because Clint is a very, very good server, and he wants to. It's an art form when you go to the table, and Clint has mastered that art form, and it's kind of hard to teach people that, and it's frustrating because you get frustrated because I've heard in
Well, see,
podcasts
we-
and before about
Yeah, and
you know,
we're
showing people
at Lily's.
how to
It was
properly do things.
It was I was like the second last person you hired. So it was me, Fro, Aaron, Emma, and like of the crew there. When it went down for like beverage and food and wine knowledge, it was me and you,
Right.
and there was a pretty big gap, and then Fro, and then there was the bigger gap, and we had some great servers.
Yeah.
They didn't have experience in what y'all were trying to do as like is an upscale dining on Wilmington Island that was still relaxed, and so there
Right.
was a lot of
Casual upskill.
casual, learning about food and wine with the staff, and sometimes Clint can be abrasive. That's new, but me trying to explain things and frustration would mount, and we kind of coasted
Right,
out. Once
right,
Vinny
right.
came in, I think it really helped kind of settle things down, because you had a manager
Yeah.
who could counterbalance some people's hyperactivity.
Yeah, and Ozzy worked, at what was it, the?
And that's your wife, Ozzy.
Yeah, Ozzy, my wife, and
She's from a white family
my
in the South,
better
too.
half. Yeah, actually, Persians are considered to be white. What was that place next to Paula Dean's place that's closed down now?
Oh, wait, not
been-
Sapphire.
Sapphire, yeah.
Sapphire, yeah.
That's where Ozzy worked at, and that's where she got her
Are
knowledge.
those guys Persian?
No.
Oh.
No.
I don't remember. I
No.
drink a lot then.
Anyway, but she helped out, with the
Yeah.
service, because I was back at the house. I didn't know.
Yeah, and she and like
where the fork goes and where the
I mean,
spoon
well,
Yeah,
goes.
right.
I don't really care
You know,
about that.
and
But it
John Girl was there
matters,
early too, and John Girl had some upscale
Yeah,
dining. I
upscale,
think our first
yeah.
wine dinner though was a little. I don't remember how the tension, because I got there like an hour before everybody else did, and the person that was supposed to be managing it, John, was kind of aloof, and so I was like, "Look,
That's a good word.
I was like, look, I can take over and do all of this and tell everybody what to do, but I don't need any like, hey, well, what about this? Like, please
Right,
just trust
right,
me. I've done this
right,
before
right.
a lot of times, and I've got the experience from 45 Bistro and Garibaldi's and other places to put that into practice. But we don't need to try to invent the wheel today. Let's just get
Right.
through this. It ended up going great, but it was,
Yeah.
like you said, it was a learning process. I mean, we spent probably 30 minutes trying to put tables together in an order we thought looked cool.
Yeah, and that's the the part of that things that you figure out, and then later on, 9 years later, then you have a system.
Even people that have opened restaurants before, still
Yeah.
they can't tell you those very
I
things.
don't care. I don't care if you open restaurants in New York City or in Podunk, Alabama. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's still the same process that you have to go through.
Yeah, I'd only opened up a Ruth's Chris before
If
that.
you care.
So there was, I went from the place I opened up with that other restaurant was Ruth's Chris, so they had endless money.
Well,
And
yeah,
then you,
I mean, it's
you,
a
you were balling on a
corporation.
budget over there, and
Yeah.
so like it was such a different twist. But like, I mean, we borrowed things, we made things work, and like you were so already entrenched in the community and known by people that you were able to get.
But that was
Everything
the hard
but frozen
part, though,
waffles.
because there was so much pressure. There was like, okay, well,
Gotta
this
do
is
well.
this is going to be good.
Yeah.
But you took
know?
that on yourself that you made. You're not just throwing out food. Every plate, you're touching the plate at the end. You want to see it, and you want each customer to feel like it was personal. And that's something that I didn't get almost anywhere I've ever worked. You cared about every plate that went out of there. It was
You know,
lunch,
I did
dinner,
that
brunch.
even anywhere I worked at. You know.
Yeah, that's why I came
and
to
that
work for
and that I kind of try to teach the guys that at the when they're working with me, because I say, you know, this is not just, you know, food that you're making. You're pleasing somebody, and you're not just working for me. You're working for those customers too.
There's cooking at home, and then there's cooking for people.
Yeah.
And at the restaurant, you want it to be right every single time.
Well, you know, you make mistakes though. You fuck up.
Sure.
But, you know, you correct them without them knowing.
But it's never the kitchen's fault when a mistake is made, right? I mean,
I tell you what.
Hey, look, I will be the first one. Hey, I know Clint's gonna, you know, get me on this right now, but
that's my segue, baby.
I have learned to apologize and to accept my
Yeah.
own mistakes. You know,
That was
and I was
great,
an
though.
angry chef before. I'll be the.
Yeah.
I'll admit it. You know?
I remember going into the Nordic
I
kitchen
wanted
to say,
to
hey,
throw a pot and pan at Clint one time.
74
but
times.
I never did because I didn't want to get
the thing
sued.
is, you and I would talk at the end of the day. and it was
Epic
over.
battle of front of house versus back of house, right here,
I
baby.
understood that at the end of the day, you can have a drink after work and talk about problems. And some chefs are like, unless you suck my dick, this is a problem forever. And you weren't ever that guy. But I remember going to the North Beach kitchen to say hey, and I'd be in there. And
I
could
was
walk in
mad
and look
then.
at you and go,
I was mad then because I didn't have support. You got to have support too, you know. I mean,
just lit this fire
you
and
know,
set back
I'm not talking bad about any kitchens, you know, because whether it's North Beach, Huckapoo's, or whatever, it's stressful.
Yeah.
You know, you're working on Tybee Island at 120 degrees weather.
Yeah.
And it's
Tensions
like
are gonna get hot.
140 in
And
the
it's
kitchen.
slammed.
And yeah, you're hungover or whatever, and you know you got people you're working with that are still drinking, you know, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and you know, talking about the support thing, you know, like if you're back there busting your hump, and it's like, yeah, you can't. I almost took it.
I know you don't smoke either.
No, I don't smoke.
He doesn't either.
I'll have a panic attack right here.
Thank you. We don't want to
I
have
don't
a
get
double
surrounded by
panic
panic
attack
attack.
right
No,
now.
I don't.
Yeah.
You don't want to see me like bashing these mics. In your
Well, the last
face.
time I had a panic attack was right here in this
Oh,
chair
really?
because
Yeah,
I took a
that's
hit of
why I
weed.
quit smoking actually. 'cause-
100%. I quit smoking when
yeah.
I was 24 because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It turned on me. Did it?
Yeah, I turned because when I was in high school, I wake and bake all the time. You know.
It's crazy
And-
how it
but,
turns.
You know.
See, I wasn't a big high school. I smoked after school. I didn't like to go into school high. I'd go to school on acid, but not high. Can't smell acid.
No shit. Come on, man.
Sorry, Dad.
Well, and we're not letting this go. Front of house versus back of
Yeah.
house.
So-
There's definitely a thing now. So where I work, I've sort of built a relationship with all of the guys where it's like if I fuck up, which I don't typically do because it's not that hard not to, you know.
Right.
It's a couple ingredients. It's three
Yeah.
menu items, you know. But we have a relationship. Whereas other servers will walk in the kitchen, they're like, "Shut up, get the fuck out. I don't care. Rewrite the ticket, whatever." You know. But then there's just sometimes, and I get it. I'll walk in, even if I've been model employee, I can walk in and go, "Not asking them for an extra side of tomatoes right now." You got to read the room a little bit, you
Yeah.
know? But you feel like you've tempered your angry
Oh yeah,
chef
definitely.
vibes.
Because you know, I have gone through that.
Yeah.
And you know, I've learned that for us, it doesn't work. You know, and I tell people the only thing that separates the front of the house and to the back of the house, those two swinging doors. Because if they need something, they need it for a reason, right? If you're mad at it or whatever, you have to remake it. Let's talk about it at the end, you know?
Let's just get it done right
Get
now.
it done right now
it's
and
about the
move
customer.
on. Because what are you going to do? Waste another 5-10 minutes and then that customer gets mad and then we lose money. We lose the patronage of having him or her or them.
And then that
coming
server's
back.
bogged down, can't get to the next table.
And yeah,
Dominoes.
the server loses money. We lose money.
Dominoes
you lose
fall.
money. Everyone's mad, right? What's the point?
And that was what
Exactly.
you were great about. You were like, look, it's not important now.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, even your line cooks, well, what happened? And it's like, it doesn't matter right
Yeah.
now what happened. Just let's get another one. You know,
Let's
why
just-
don't they like this drink? I don't know. Let's give them another one, though. We'll
Right.
talk about it later. But let's go ahead and move forward with everything instead of just slowing
You know, I
down.
mean, the customer's not always damn right?
No.
I mean, we know that.
What a great
But
segue.
Yes.
we have to just go on because getting mad at each other because some douchebag wants another, you know, ice cube or another tomato that's missing out of the 8 tomatoes that he counted, I don't care. Is that really fucking worth it?
Let's just give it to him. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's just get it out
Is
of the
that
way.
really worth it?
Is it worth us at each other's throats over?
No.
So is that a peeve? So outside of like food allergies, because sometimes they're real.
Sometimes
They're
not.
real, and sometimes I've questioned it. And to the longest time, I always questioned, the cilantro thing, But scientifically, it is right
I've known a person.
that people have
It's soapy.
It's soap taste.
Yeah.
And I've worked with people that, have that.
Which
And
is
I
so
actually
unfortunate. I love
thought
that.
that was
so
such
good.
bullshit for a long time.
Okay.
But I read about it because it is, my background is in pharmacology, whatever. But, I read about it, and it's actually scientifically, there's a specific thing inside of some people that
Yeah, it's like 1 in
cilantro
60 or something like
tastes
that.
like freaking soap to them.
It has soap.
And what's the other
Yeah.
one that's like close to that?
There's another one as well. Yeah, there's a few like certain alums taste a weird way to certain people, like your
Yeah.
your garlics and your whatever.
Oh.
Like that'll have a weird effect.
But then you
on
get
some people's
things like
stomach.
I had at Lily's one time. This lady said, "I'm allergic to salt,"
Oh, okay, come on now.
and I went, "No, you're not."
Shh.
I mean, you have sodium in your body.
I said, "No, you're not."
And if you don't, you're dead.
Yeah.
I said, "You don't. You're not." She goes, "I am." I'm like, "Your doctor said don't have any extra salt, but you're
Oh,
not
yeah.
allergic to salt." She
Okay.
goes, "No, he said I'm allergic." I'm like, "Man, the only way your cells get energy are sodium ion channels. That's how your body moves is sodium. You have to have it or you will die
Yeah.
very quickly." And she's like, "No, I can't have salt." I'm like, "You can't have any extra salt. It's okay."
Well, it's hard to explain that to people when that's what they say to themselves and say, if I tell the server that I'm allergic to something, he or she will not put it on in my food.
Because they've had a bad server that
yeah.
didn't take them seriously, and I get that because there's been a lot of servers that are like, no, it doesn't matter. They just don't want any salt. Don't give me
Yeah.
any extra salt.
And if you tell them, okay, well, I'm a, diabetic or I have a high blood pressure and I can't have salt, and even the cooks will, it's like, hey, Mir, can you not put salt in this person's fries? Like, why? It's like they're allergic. Like,
All right.
okay, I won't though because
Yeah,
I don't want them to die.
Yeah, exactly.
But you say, hey, they're they have high blood pressure. It's like, oh, a little bit won't matter. Let me just
Yeah,
toss it around
that's what
in
I'm
the
saying.
bowl.
It's like,
So
Just
non-allergy
add
pet
more.
peeves.
I was gonna say, well, just because your fat ass has high blood pressure, I'll take the salt off. Okay.
Hey, you don't have to be a fat ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to. Or the Diet Betty's. Anybody get the Diet Betty's.
But yeah. So all right. Outside of the allergies that are real,
Right.
all right. The pet peeves about. So you craft your dishes
Right.
in a pretty particular way. Now I understand some people can't handle like something super spicy,
Sure.
but like substitutions and alterations to your stuff.
I
is-
hate it.
Yeah.
Like what chef and cook likes it? No one does.
Well, it slows everything down, too.
And it slows everything down, and then you have these. I mean, it happens every couple of days, probably. I mean, people come in. They don't want onions. They don't want tomatoes. They don't want.
Well, don't
pepper.
order the thing with those things on it then.
Well, that's what I say to myself, and everybody in the common world does.
yes.
But there are people that will insist on recreating the dish for them because they don't like it.
Now this has grown though. When you were cooking at El Pasticcio,
I
You
remember
didn't-
like Vinny, he hates freaking
He hates
onions.
onions. But like when you were at El Pasticcio, the substitution game has gone way up.
Yeah,
Which is overall
I'll-
entitlement for
I
people.
agree.
And like I remember being back when I was a young buck working at like Chart House and stuff. The chef would be like, "I'm not doing this. These specials tonight. This is what they are. If you don't want them, this is it. We're not changing anything." And like even the slightest thing, I don't want fettuccine. I want angel hair. You're messing up my vibe. This is not how it's going to work. Also, this dish may taste better
Yeah.
with this pasta.
Right.
And I always try to explain to somebody when they have I don't normally like this thing. Like, no, well, look, this is how this will accentuate. This may change this in the dish, so it'll taste different. Give it a shot.
Right.
But then you take the risk of them being like, I gave it a shot, fuck you.
I don't like it.
And now I want something different. Do
Yeah. Could I have the French onion soup? But I don't really like onions.
you have a French eggplant soup?
We've had people. We've done wine dinners, and it was a seafood dinner. And
The Feast of Seven Fishes?
well, that was one of them. I think it was that one. We did another seafood dinner, but there was a person that came to the dinner, and mind you, that these dinners are prepaid, and you see the menu, you know what the wine is, so on and so forth. And this person had a seafood allergy.
At a seafood dinner.
at the dinner, and it has happened twice, and it's a different person.
Did they tell you before they came?
No.
They got there and were like, by the way.
Yeah. So
everything you
I
made
have
fucking
to,
sucks.
I want to be mad, but I can't because
'Cause you're amazed?
I'm like, okay, well, this person is just
They just don't get it.
either they don't get it or they don't care,
Or they don't read good.
on
They don't mind inconveniencing somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the major thing, the entitlement part.
Now, is that entitlement or is that just stupidity?
I mean, it's
or
both.
Is that,
A little bit of both. And some people are so.
I want to patronize you, but I also want to offend you.
Yes.
You want this patronization? I'm gonna.
I'm going to deal with it. I was at one of those, and I was like, huh?
Yeah, you don't get it, but
Welcome to the seafood
You guys
dinner.
are going backstage at Cypress Hill for a reason. You don't want to get high. They're like, hey, could you guys not smoke? I'm like, wait, no.
Hey, I was invited to this weed smoking party, and I don't smoke weed. What you got for me?
Please don't smoke weed.
Yeah.
well, we
I
got
can't be
this
around with-
fentanyl over here.
Yeah. So I'm going to back at the back of the house, front of the house. We had an employee that worked with us at Lily's, who I see him now downtown. He works somewhere else. I can't remember his name. He was a short little black guy. He worked in the dish pit. He was very quiet, and I don't know if you.
Oh, Willie.
Willie, yes, thank you, Willie. And do you remember what Willie
He
and
works
I?
in the city of Savannah now.
Does he? I bet it's sanitation. So, do you remember?
come on,
no,
man.
because of this. Sanitation is a great
His
job.
name is Willie.
No, because he didn't. He was like 19 when you hired, I think, or 20.
Yeah, he was very
He didn't
young.
understand that you can't go take a big, long 15-minute shit 5 minutes before the doors open
Right.
and not courtesy flush. And so I had to figure out a way to gently get someone to tell him this. This was after Vinny had left, so
Right.
Matt was in charge. So Matt didn't have the balls to do this. So I'm like,
Right.
Mir.
Especially if you're shitting in the manager's office.
Yeah, exactly. He should have been, because he would go take a shit and, like, if you
Oh, we had 2 bathrooms.
yeah, but if you courtesy flush, you can kind of mask that. But he would go in there and just let it marinate for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then we'd open and someone would go to the bathroom and be like, "Good God!" And I'm like, "Hey, we need to tell this young boy who just doesn't know this gently. You drop and go, because we don't want the first round of customers."
But
to be
this
offended.
happens a lot, though. Clint. I mean, this is not just Willie. This is like
I'm not just blaming Willie.
servers also do this.
And
crap,
I'll get on their
literally crap.
That
you
is
know?
it. Servers on the other end of that, perfume. What are we doing here? Someone's gonna have a nice aromatic dinner. Don't come on my shit smelling like 10 kinds of perfume.
Yeah.
If you put perfume on when you leave the home, by the time service starts, it'll be elusive. But you don't go take a cigarette break and go splash, splash, splash. splash,
I
splash.
insist on having those pre-sprayers in there that
Yeah.
spray off.
Poopery.
And it's one of my pet peeves if they're like out, because I'm like,
Yeah.
manager, please refresh these.
This
And
is
it's
very
for one
important.
of those reasons.
Yeah.
And in the men's bathroom, I have a Febreze down below, and it's for me too.
Yeah. Well, everyone
Everyone poops.
Everyone poops. You just got to learn sometimes to take the
But
courtesy.
there is a courtesy point, as you said.
Yes.
Especially
Yeah.
if
He
you're
just didn't know, and like he was young. He was a little easily offended at stuff, so I didn't want to tell him. And that thing is, now I see him, I'm a block away. He's like, "Clay, what up?" And like he's a great. I meant sanitation because of the shit thing, not because he worked in sanitation.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
Glad you cleared that up.
You know who I think probably blows up restaurants without courtesy flushing?
Oh shit. It's the Karen of the week. It's the Karen of the week. Oh shit.
Oh shit! The Karen of the Week, brought to you by Fire Maker Brewery, Atlanta, Georgia.
What'd they do?
You want me to go first? Because mine's pretty general.
You go first. He'll go. I'll finish.
Oh,
We're
you'll
gonna drop
close?
a quote of the week in there somewhere too. We got some quotes.
Oh yeah, I got a good quote. Actually, yeah. Okay, so I'll start. My Karen is so general that it happened like 7 times the other night, and it's a well-meaning Karen move.
So she was white. Gotcha. Blonde's over
He
here.
or she.
Okay.
It happened a lot of times. So when we had the drag show, we had a lot of the tables taken out. So it was mostly just, chairs out there, and people were leaving their drinks like down by their feet. So people who thought they were being nice, they would grab full cups of liquid and take every napkin that was next to it and stuff it.
To absorb the liquid. That way you throw the liquid in the trash where liquid doesn't go.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm over there
Oh no.
squeezing out.
You should have used your mustache brush.
I probably did it 15 times, like into the sink.
And nothing
but
feels better than someone's backspit in your hands.
we ran out of soap that night. And the thing is, people do it most times because they think they're helping. They're like, "Oh, I'm just going to tidy up my area."
They mean well.
Yeah, but
They don't
damn it,
think well.
don't.
They
But
mean
God
well.
damn it, don't do it. I'm here to say, leave it there. I'll take care of it. Don't take a wet, full cup of liquid. Stick a goddamn napkin into it, please, please, and thank you.
I think I definitely offended a customer a few weeks ago because they were like, "Hey, I don't want ice in my water," and I was like, "Cool, got it." And I just took the cup and threw it into the plant next to me. And I was like, "I'll be right back." And the lady was like, "I was like, plants need water too." Because when I'm clearing a table, I'll throw the water into the planters because I'm not going to throw it onto the street because that's.
Sure.
But also like, why waste this water?
Yeah.
And so people are like, I'm like, whoa. I'm
It's
like,
what plants
No,
crave.
it needed the water. I don't know. I just didn't. It looked hot. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm sorry. The lady was like, whoa. It's like I'm not being like, oh, you don't want ice? Fuck you then, lady. But before we get into to mirrors, Karen, do you have?
It's the quote of the week.
No, I got it.
Okay.
My quote of the week is my buddy Dame. He walks up to the outside bar the other night. He sees another buddy of mine, Daniel Bunger. They share a glance, and Damon says, "Don't look at me with that 'Oh brother, where art thou' haircut." I was like, "What?"
I know what he means.
I nearly
I know what he
fainted.
means. Jim Carrey and Liar and not Liar and Dumb and Dumber.
So Daniel's like, "Hey." Never mind.
Just
you got
takes
it.
it.
Just one takes it and walks away. I had to go take a break in the kitchen for a second.
That's a good one. Though.
Get yelled at for a
'Cause you can see
second.
that. You can feel that haircut.
It hurt.
Yeah. So mine quote of the week. This was during a college football game on Saturday. Late in the game, somebody definitely had a libation or two goes. Juice is temporary. Sauce is forever. Juice is temporary. Sauce is forever. You could use that in so many forms and fashions of life. Like it could mean so many things.
I mean, you can make it mean anything that you want.
You
it to.
really, really can. So, do you have a Karen or a Darren?
Well, yeah, I've got several of them, but one,
He has.
One
You're not
sticks
watching. He has
out.
a scroll here.
one sticks out. Before I think there was the word Karen, as in exposed in our internet, social, whatever. And so this lady, I think it was maybe a couple of years after we opened up, and so we have a patio outside, and it's a covered patio, and it all started like she's had been coming in, and one lunch she didn't want the music to be on outside, just for her. But we had other.
Did she ride
patrons.
solo a lot?
No, she was with other people.
Okay.
But she did ride solo several
She
times.
like 5'11"?
I don't remember how tall she was.
God,
man.
okay.
No, she was like an older lady.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but I don't know if you were there. I don't know if
Was
you
it
were
Dragon
there.
Ball Z grandma? Because there was a lady we called Dragon Ball Z grandma.
Why?
'Cause she looked like a Dragon Ball Z. Her eyes
Was
were always
pink?
Her hair was always big. Her eyes were always big. Her hair was like she had the Joan Rivers looking facial work where it was just a pull a skin to the back of her head, and her hair would be all froed out.
I don't know if I can.
Doesn't matter.
see if that's-
Doesn't matter, but
it doesn't matter.
I want
right?
it to be her.
Okay, so I didn't have names for our customers like he.
Oh,
So
Puck
anyway, but she wanted the music just to be turned down for her, and she demanded to do that in the middle of service. And there's other patrons out there, we're playing music, we're having fun. There's the same music is playing inside,
and you're not playing,
and
the rest of the music.
she did that, and she threw a big fit about it because we wouldn't do it. They came in the kitchen and asked me, and I was like, no. Why are we going to turn down the music or turn it off for this one person? Why? Because
That's why I love you. Why would you make everyone suffer for one person's
Yeah,
problem?
I mean, this is just about it. Like, it's not about the food. It's not about the service. It's about something that is entertainment. I can understand her if there was a live musician playing out there and it was too loud, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this is just music playing on the damn radio.
At a reasonable volume.
at a reasonable volume, yeah. And she's only one complaining about it that I've ever heard in my life, And so, like I said, there was no term for Karen, but yeah, that's who she was. Then it goes on, right? This gets better.
The song continues.
So she continues to come in because she likes the food, and she usually comes in at lunchtime.
This is Dragon Ball Z grandma.
Then, she complained again about the music. And I went out there and I talked to her this time. I
Did you
said,
turn her
"Listen."
hearing aid down for her?
I didn't even think about that, but I said, why do you not like the music, or why do you want it down? She's like, well, I just don't want the music to be on when I'm out here. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, lady. This is part of the atmosphere. This is part of the whole restaurant
We're
thing.
at a restaurant.
If you don't want music, go to the library and take a takeout.
Yeah. Exactly. Bring a bag lunch. Where restaurant is there not any kind of music playing? Soft, whatever.
So after that, I wouldn't call it altercation because I was trying to explain to her, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So after that, she writes a 5-page letter, okay, mails it to us. She lives like down the street, okay?
Like
on
official
Wilmington
mail,
Island.
like that you had to sign for it?
Yeah. And this letter contains
notarized?
like all the reasons why we were wrong, of course, and why she was right. And at the end of the letter, she states that her son is a lawyer and that he is going to pursue legal action towards us.
My God, she's going
I
to sue you.
shit you not about this, okay? I wish I kept.
I'm guessing this case has never hit court, huh?
I wish I kept the letter, but it's
Oh
a
my God,
5-page
I do too.
handwritten letter.
Handwritten? She didn't post any of this on
No,
review
because
sites.
I don't think she knew how to use social
Yelp or
media
anything?
at that time.
You know who didn't know about the lawsuit? The son that she
Probably, and probably. And
Who's the clerk of the court in Birmingham, Alabama?
So I, of course, I didn't respond to the letter, but she came in.
should have sent her back a thumbs
she
up.
came in, to make sure we got the letter. To acknowledge
damn,
that we had
Karen is
received the letter because it
dedicated.
was not like, a sign, I had to sign for it or whatever.
Every time I see her, I would be like, I would turn the music up just a little bit. Every time she wanted to like, crank it up.
So I lost it at that time. I was like, you know what? You can tell your goddamn son to go ahead and place a lawsuit for whatever reason.
What is this lawsuit? What statute is
I don't.
that?
I don't even know if there's a law for this.
Eric thinks he had music problems and Huckapoos with the noise being loud. This right here is on another goddamn level.
Holy shit.
That is a
And I said, go ahead
pyramid.
and do what you want to do. Go ahead. I don't care.
Did she still get there?
But you're banned from here. That's when that was. I think maybe that was the first person I banned from the restaurant. And I never thought I would have to do that. And
Not
I
for
think
that
there's only
reason.
like 3 people that we've told not to come back, but the other people were because of being belligerent. This person was because
Hey,
of.
we saw
for a
some
5-page letter.
We saw some
Yeah.
belligerent. I remember one night, and I think Vinny and I told this story when he was on here. A couple broke up
Oh
while
my
they were
God.
in there. They came in drunk, got drunker. They broke up. One of them left and came back, and then the other one left and came back. And I'm like, I just need you to pay this bill. Like it was like 9:30. We've already been closed for a while, and it's just us. And I think me and you are in the kitchen, just like listening. And like there may have been another customer there who was cool enough to come back to the kitchen with
I've
us.
got a Darren story actually too, but
Okay, yeah, that's fine. And it was and like because of where the location is, people couldn't find this place forever. They'd ask like it's between
Yeah,
these two banks,
right,
and they're like,
right.
I don't understand. I'm like, hey, look, it's right here. It's worth it. And people downtown will ask me, hey, where should I go eat? I'm like, look, if you got a car and time, at least go have lunch at this place. You're going to enjoy it. And I don't ever get negative reviews back, except for the music. There's a lot of complaints about the music.
yeah.
It's just too much music. It's too musical.
That damn music.
Well,
That's what the
anyway.
sound of a
So
hammer hitting.
what's the
So to
damn?
end that story,
Yeah.
after I told her that she's banned, I think she dyed her hair and tried to come in one time.
This is fucking Dragon Ball Z, Grandma, for goddamn sure. It sounds just like this lady.
I swear to you. And
Next time you see Aaron, ask her if that's who it is, because she knows what I'm
and
talking
she was
about.
only placing to-go orders.
Just come in with a disguise on, you mustache
It's
mask.
so weird. You love the
She had a
food
broom.
so much, but you're like, but that music.
This one thing. That's a hell
And
of a
if you
hill
come
die
to the
on.
patio, like our speakers are not that great.
No, they're 2 3x5s.
I mean,
They're nothing.
We have it just for just having
Because you don't
want
want to eat. I can't
noise.
eat. I cannot eat in utter silence. If
Yeah.
I'm in the room with somebody else,
No.
I'm not. We're not. No, there's music playing because I don't want to hear you eating
Anyway,
or someone just chewing. So what's
that
the
was
Darren?
that was my Karen story. Before there was a Karen,
I
and then
thought we were
Darren.
gonna do the-
Okay, Darren. This is not really a customer. Okay, this is just a weird shit. Okay.
Hey,
All right,
Darren's
we
so-
accept all.
Yeah.
So this man, probably mid to late 20s, comes in, applies for a job. Okay, and he comes in, says, I want to apply for a dishwasher job. I said, okay, fine, great. Fill out the application, and then I'll talk to you. He fills out the application, and I talk to him briefly, and I say, everything normal that I always say to hiring somebody, and I get up and I leave. This guy stands there and starts complaining about me, saying that I was rude to him for whatever reason. Okay, I think you guys might have heard this, like somewhere, because it's going to go to another ending for this.
Hell yeah.
And then he calls the restaurant, okay, over and over and over, and the same person is answering the phone, because we have one person answering the phone, and he says that the dishwasher is the most important position in the kitchen, and this man does not understand why I'm here applying for this job, and he does not want to take me seriously, and this and that and this and that.
This motherfucker's got a degree in dishwashing. He is a top of the line. He's a professional, lifelong dishwasher.
So I swear to you, he calls 20 plus times, okay, and we answer each time because we don't know. I guess the guy wasn't looking at what phone number it was. And he's still complaining about me, and this lasts for over an hour.
I love complaining about the person that has the last call in the restaurant, like the person that has the end line.
This gets better. And then the cops show up to the restaurant.
Oh, shit!
He goes to the police station, which is down the street.
And says you were rude to him?
And says that I was rude to him, and that I was not abusive or anything, but he said that I slandered him. So I go out there, talk to the cops. I'm like, listen, man.
How are you not laughing? I would have been out there just giggling my ass off.
This person has some mental issues, okay? And I did nothing because there was witnesses there, other employees that saw the same thing.
I took a job interview.
And I showed them the phone, and I said, look, this person called 20 plus times over and over. And they were like, okay, we do you know where he went? I was like, I don't know where he went.
He called you guys.
He called you guys. It's probably in your parking lot. Go look over there.
He's probably down the street at the Ace Hardware just staring at you. He's a Goodwill with some binoculars.
So, of course, they're like, okay, well, he's got some mental issues. I said, I agree with you.
Well, hold on. Did you hire him or not?
Next day, he's working in the kitchen.
Yeah. So the next day at the dish pit, he goes,
like, don't go to the cops.
He's calling for the dish pit.
So, after that happens, forget about it. In the news or on social media, somebody shows me this guy's picture. He went to Pooler and did the exact same thing. But this time, he got arrested for doing this.
Yeah.
Damn.
He was maybe a mixed African-American young man in his 20s, but he really had mental issues. I don't know if you can consider, Darren's.
Well, no, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah.
But, demanding.
I don't have any scruples.
You're accusing people of not taking them seriously.
Why wouldn't you go to corporate restaurants and try that? You'd have more bearing to get something out of it instead of going to a mom and pop.
Do you remember in Train Spotting, some of the guys were on benefits?
I was too high on heroin.
Me too, brother. They were on benefits, so they had to every month they had to go and at least try and get a job. Right.
That's right.
Yeah. And prove that they did it.
Yeah. And they do that now.
That's what I'm saying. So I was like, maybe this dude's like, they're trying to force me to get a job.
I don't think he
was mental.
I think he was mentally, disturbed because the people that are like what you were talking about, they actually, put in a resume or whatever and don't show up.
Oh, right, yeah. I just figured they'd be like, well, I went in to get a job, and he called me the N-word.
He didn't say that, but, he might as well have, pretty much,
Good gosh.
Shit.
Calling the cops on a restaurant that didn't hire you.
I was so surprised. I was like,
that was my son.
This is a great story
my son, Darren.
I'm never going to forget, because I've never had that done. And, being in the restaurant business, as you guys know, there's some crazy weirdos out there, front and back.
But they hold it until they get the job, at least.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I'm glad I found this out now,
Well, things that you sometimes just can't find out is how someone becomes a Darren. 11-time Emmy Award-winning Darren. A gentleman named Scott Jacobs.
Oh my God.
You You ever heard of this guy, man? You ever heard of Scott Jacobs?
I don't know, man. I'm a public figure.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well,
Before we get to Scott, do you have any?
yeah, I have an update. I ran into Not Jacobs the other day.
So we have a guy named Not Jacobs who subscribed to our Patreon as Scott Jacobs.
Okay.
And we were trying to figure out if it was him trying to listen to the dirt on himself.
Or, and if it was
Someone
him
sent us
that-
this book on semenology, on things to cook with semen.
Still haven't figured out who that is, but Not Jacobs is a legend because he was like, I started listening to the podcast, and you talked about Scott Jacobs' lives. Like, I made a whole YouTube channel, a whole email.
Yeah, because I'll look at someone subscribes to our Patreon, they can pick their own name. So I'll look at the name and be like, and the email address to see if I can kind of figure out who they are. And I was like, it's Scott Jacobs, 912 at Gmail.
Well,
He did a good job of it. So we don't have to talk about Scott right here.
I met Scott back in the George's days because he had his office across the street, which is now I think it's a real estate or a rental.
yeah, it was like Titan for a little
Titan.
bit.
That was his
Titan.
dad's. That was his dad's.
And he told me the story of his dad, who is a producer. I think he was. That was true, and that he accumulated his money from his dad and this and that, and
He didn't use it to tip though. That's weird.
but most recently, my encounter with Scott was that he was doing these 5-minute videos or 30-second videos, clips, and he was charging people just like you can do yourself on YouTube.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Well, he probably was using a cell phone too.
And and he wanted to charge me some enormous amount of money.
To do like a promo clip?
Yeah, and this was before the chef thing and blah blah blah. Okay. This was
Our
a
listeners pretty
promo
much
clip.
know.
Yeah.
They know about Mr. Jacobs and his proclivities to completely embellish or lie about things. Like I think it's only 10 Emmys, but we added one for him somewhere.
He won an Emmy in my heart, so that's 11.
So we've lamented on him quite a few times, and it got better because one of our listeners and our favorites is Caitlin from Bubba Gumbo's.
Yeah.
He came in there and applied for a job as a chef.
Yeah, I think you told me about
This
that.
was after I called you when he applied to Circa, or was not
Oh, yeah,
applied.
yeah.
He was hired. And just to refresh you real quick on this, I go into work on a Thursday. They decide we're not busy. We're going to close the wine cellar where I work, so I'm going to get out of there. But they're like, hey, our new chef is here. So like, oh, cool. Let me meet him real quick. And he walks by and I go, hey, I'm Clint. I've heard about you. You've been here longer than anybody. Yeah. Shake hands. And I go, I know you. And he goes, no, you don't. And scurries away. So then he proceeds to spend the next 30 minutes trying to avoid me. And I'm trying to get like a good shot of him. And I'm like, I know who this fucking guy is. I know who this guy is. So I immediately go on. I leave work. I come talk to you. I talk to AJ. I talk to a bunch of local people that knew him and interacted with him just to see. And everybody gave me the same stories. Like, this is the guy, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember him coming into Lily's and sitting at the bar and being like, do you have a pen and paper? I need to, when I drink and I'm alone, I need to be creative. I'm like, what the fuck you keep coming in here without pen and paper for then? And he would sit there and drink. He'd be like, what pairs of this tuna? I'm like, a light Pinot. He's like, what's the heaviest wine you've got? I'm like, that's not going to work. And he would pontificate on how great it was. And he's been our Darren more than a few times, and he just won't go away. He just won't go away.
Go away.
But we'll get some more of that and some other interaction people that wouldn't go away, like the Savannah Oyster House here in a minute on our Patreon.
Well, last call, Vin. Is everybody feeling good about what we did?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Kelly, how do you think?
Kelly feel good? Mir feel good?
Yeah, I feel like everything went pretty well. I was going to tell a story about a top of sixes I had the other day. My buddy was like, they all kind of look the same. I'm like, they're all just sixes. It's a six of sixes. Huh. Well, next week we'll do that. Thank you, Mir, for being here.
Thank you guys for having me.
If you want to stick around for the salacious, check out the Patreon. So, if you would, please follow us on YouTube, YouTube From Behind the Barcast. Follow our Instagram, From Behind the Barcast. Facebook, whatever else.
Thank you, Hockey
feel
Joe,
like.
for always commenting on stuff.
Yes, and we are about to do a Patreon, and if you would like to support us on Patreon, it's patreon.com/From Behind the Barcast. We have 2 tiers, but you get the same thing for both tiers.
Thank you, Christian, for updating your tier up, double the tier up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we appreciate that.
We appreciate you guys, and we will see y'all either in the Patreon or next week.